Hi guys, and welcome back. You may have noticed that the intro to this video is slightly different to our normal one, and instead of an Evolve logo, you're seeing an Eventuri logo. And the reason for that is that this video series is now about a project car that we've just bought for Eventuri. If you guys don't know already, I'm also co-founder of Eventuri as well as the owner of Evolve. And whilst Evolve is a BMW specialist, you're probably wondering why there's an Audi behind me. The reason for that is that Eventuri make products not just for BMWs, but also for Audi, for Lamborghini, and now for Mercedes and also Porsche. So the idea behind this project is to take the RS3 and document the build from beginning to end and get it to around 600 horsepower with a hybrid turbo. Along the way, we're going to be fitting a whole host of parts. We already have the parts delivered, and it's just a matter of getting them on the car, documenting them, showing you guys the difference that they're going to make. So the parts that we've got, they include the MSS suspension, super split downpipe in section 1, the Eventuri intake obviously. We will also be tuning the car at every single stage to show you guys the difference, showing you on the dyno and also the V-boxes to show the real world performance. The first modification naturally is going to be the Eventuri intake, and we've also had to wait for it. So I couldn't jump the queue, and like many of you know, when you buy an Eventuri intake, sometimes you have to wait a long time. And that's not because we're slow, it's because the demand is so much, we really struggle to keep up with it. So thank you for all of our customers who keep us busy. But I've waited 2 weeks to actually get this intake on the car, so if you can believe that or not. So the first test we're going to do is the Eventuri intake naturally on a stock car, dyno graphs and also the V-box, and after that we will tune the car with stage 1 tuning and also show you the results on that. This will be the first video. The next part of the series will be stage 2 tuning and the suspension, and then we'll be fitting the hybrid turbo and then showing you the results of that. The conclusion of this series of videos initially is going to be us taking this car to VMAX in 3 weeks. So literally we've got 3 weeks to get this car from stock to 600 horsepower. And then run the car at VMAX, and we can show you some exciting races hopefully. So with the car dynoed, let's have a look at the figures it's made. Audi quote this car at 395 horsepower and it's made 411 on our dyno. We've dynoed a few of these in stock form now, and they all make around sort of 410, 415. So it's in line with other cars that we've dynoed. This dyno was done on Shell V-Power, which is 99 RON. That's the equivalent of like 93, 94 octane in America. I've also V-boxed the car. Sorry, I've draggied the car now. We're using draggy. And it's done a 1008 100 to 200, and that's on a verified slope with a full tank of fuel. So the idea of that is that we've got a baseline on the dyno and also a baseline on draggy, and as we go forward and modify the car, we can use that as a baseline and show the improvement every step of the way. I'm going to hand you over to the co-founder of Eventuri now and also the lead designer, Bilal, who will go through the stock intake and the Eventuri intake with you.
I'm the other co-founder of Eventuri and the lead design engineer. We're going to have a look at the stock intake system on the RS3, which is in front of us. Starting with the duct, it opens up to the full width of the slam panel, which draws air in from the front bumper. The airflow has to negotiate through the duct and into the bottom of the airbox. There's a cuboid opening in the bottom of the airbox. Airflow has to then turn 90 degrees upwards to go through the rectangular filter, and then again 90 degrees out of the airbox. Now the airbox itself is obviously of a cuboid nature, so you've got corners, which isn't great when we're talking about airflow. Once the airflow leaves the airbox, it has to travel through this flexible rubber tubing, which is required for movement, because as the engine rocks, you've got your turbo tube which moves, however the airbox stays stationary as it mounts to the chassis. This isn't very good for airflow, because those multiple faces inside that tube cause turbulence. Once the airflow leaves that tube, it then enters the main rigid turbo tube and then into the stock turbo. Once we've taken this out, we'll put the Eventuri in and go through a brief overview of that.
Ryan Little.
Okay, so we've now fitted our Eventuri intake to the RS3. As you can see, we have our front duct, which spans the full width of the slam panel, so it takes advantage of the opening in front of the bumper. That smoothly transitions to our patented filter housing with our reverse mounted filter inside. And then that goes to our two connecting tubes, which are oversized to 88mm internal diameter, all the way to the turbo. This is a stock turbo right now. We've got our custom silicon reducer, which has an internal step to mate up against the exposed turbo flange, which ensures that there are no exposed ridges for the airflow. There will be a full detailed analysis coming on this. You can also see details on our website, and we will now test this on this car to see what it does.
During the development process of the Eventuri on this car, we already had gathered a lot of data, but for consistency's sake, I have taken the car out again. So if you recall, I did a stock 10.08 in the car, and with the Eventuri, I've done a 9.89. So that's a 0.2 faster time, 100 to 200 on the draggy, and that's again on a verified slope. So with the stock car done, let's put the stage 1 tune on the car and see how the intake reacts with that. The first modification we have done on the car, apart from the intake, is the Evolve Stage 1 tune. So we reverted the car back to the stock airbox and applied the Stage 1 tune, and we went from 411 to 475. Now remember, that's a peak figure. It has actually made more than that during the rev range. It has made up to 80-90 horsepower, and it's made around 100 foot-pound of torque. So here the stock line is the blue one, that's the power, that's the torque, and that turquoise line is with the stage 1, still making peak power towards the top of the rev range, which is good. We then applied the Eventuri intake to the car, and as you can see, it's made a good 25-30 foot-pound of torque extra and a good 15-20 horsepower. It's made 5 at peak. It looks like it's being restricted by something. We're not sure what that is yet. This car still has a stock inlet pipe on it, has a stock cat, and also has a stock intercooler. So we will change those and see if that figure changes anymore and if it actually starts making a bit more power at the top end. So we have draggy tested both of those modifications. With just the stage 1 applied, the car did a 7.8 dead, 100 to 200, and with the addition of the Eventuri intake, it did a 7.65. So that's a 1.5 second improvement in the 100 to 200 time. Looking at the graph, I can tell that I probably would have been faster shifting at 6,000 because it's got a bit more power over just the stage 1 here. But for consistency's sake, I was letting the car shift itself wherever it thought it was the best to shift, which is towards the end of the rev range. At some point I will go out and try and get the fastest draggy time I can get, but the testing purposes I've tried to just keep it consistent so we can see what the difference is between each modification. With the stage 1 tune applied and also with the Eventuri on top of that, the car has really impressed me. The acceleration times are really impressive for such a small car. As a BMW guy myself, I've been impressed with the car overall in terms of its looks, its handling, and the way it can put its power down. The next stage for this car is to go stage 2, so that will involve initially fitting a Super Sprint downpipe and the section 1 pipe, and then adjusting the map to suit that. Then we'll be fitting a inlet turbo pipe, and then after that a Wagner intercooler. We'll also document each stage of that to see where the car gets to. And then after that, we'll be fitting a hybrid turbo. Now, the whole purpose of buying this car for Eventuri was to show that the intake can work at higher power applications. And during our testing, if we find that at a certain power level, it's not working as well as we want it to, we may completely redesign the intake to suit people who are fitting a bigger turbo, because this is a really tunable platform and a lot of people are taking it well beyond stage 1 and stage 2. So we want to cater for those customers as well who want to go hybrid turbo and push over 600 horsepower. So really looking forward to this project. I love the car more than I thought I would. It's a very, very tunable platform, as I've said. I'm looking forward to getting the car beyond 600 horsepower and taking it to VMAX to see what it can do against some supercars. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you'd like to watch more of this project, you can do so over here. If you'd like to watch what YouTube suggests you might like from our other videos, you can watch that over here. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer them for you.